And welcome back. After serving his community through leadership with Catholic Charities of New York and as a priest in the church, our next guest has published his first book, What's the Message? Bible Basics for Busy People. The book breaks down the Bible into 25 key passages and their most important takeaways. And joining us to tell more details is the Executive Director of Catholic Charities of New York, Monsignor Kevin Sullivan. And Monsignor, great to have you.
Hey, thanks so much for welcoming me onto the show.
Oh, thank you. And so in your own kind of way, right, you're taking servant leadership, combining it and giving people some lessons, huh?
Well, I love the Bible, okay? And so I just think it's a great book. It's got so much to help us to get through each day and to get through life, but it's pretty big book. And, you know, I'm a New Yorker and we don't have a lot of patience. And I think a lot of my fellow New Yorkers don't have a lot of patience. So I said, you know, is there a way we can kind of get the basics out to busy people? And that's what my book's about. It's saying, okay, it's a big book, 800,000 words, but can we pick maybe 25 key passages? And if you go through those, you get the story, you get what the key messages are there. So that's what I tried to do. And on kind of each of those passages, maybe offered a couple of paragraphs of my own ponderings or thoughts about how they might tie in to how we go through our day in the 21st century.
Yeah. So for you, it's got to be a good feeling because you have people now being able to read the Bible, a book that you so much love. And at the same time, you're really tailoring it to somebody who may be busy because we are working in a hustling, bustling society. And let's be honest, while faith is, you know, something that a lot of people practice, sometimes having the ability to practice it by reading doesn't always happen as much as we like. So you made it pretty simple here.
Well, I tried to make it simple without being simplistic. I hope I captured authentically the message, although I didn't capture it all. And my hope is that people see by reading my kind of little 100-page book or so, that they say, hey, the Bible isn't as inaccessible or as far away or as distant from my daily life as, you know, maybe I thought when it was such a big book. I'm hoping that they see there's a lot to the Bible. If they take it in chunks, it's going to help them get through their day in a way that they're better off because of it.
Yeah. And I know as Monsignor, you don't just want people to read it, but you want them to kind of live it out as well, right? And when we talk about living it out, it's been your mission to give back to others through the work that you do as a Monsignor and then Catholic Charities. But what's the message that you think, or what's the takeaway about giving back to others, particularly at a time like this with amidst our COVID pandemic?
So as people go through the basic message of the Bible, which I think even people who don't read the Bible know, is that religious people, Christians, Jews, and Muslims too, are supposed to have their faith be demonstrated in the way that they live their lives. And there's a lot of different parts to that, but one of the parts is that we do have to reach out and be in solidarity with our neighbors, our sisters and brothers, and in a particular way for our sisters and brothers who maybe have challenges, maybe those who don't have as much income as everybody else, those whom the world calls poor, and that we have a responsibility to be in solidarity to provide the help that we can, not in a condescending way, but in a way which understands that even people who are poor with challenges, they're made in God's image and likeness. And in some ways, maybe not material ways, they have a lot of things they can give back to others, even as they may need some material help. And that's what we try to do at Catholic Charities, to provide help to our neighbors in need, but in a way which creates hope for a better future for them. And at Catholic Charities, it could be a nutritious meal. It could be a helping hand with rent. It could be even building some affordable apartments that people can move into, or a variety of other ways, after school programs, summer programs, so that kids can fulfill their potential. That's what we're about at Catholic Charities, and it does flow from our spiritual roots, our spiritual legacy, even though our services, we proudly say, are open to people of all religions and no religions.
For you, it's been a tough time because Catholic Charities, since the pandemic, has continued its services. But not only has it continued its services, I know that you've seen an increase in services. Give us an inside look as to what it's been like for your organization navigating through this pandemic, given the fact that so many people had food insecurity, housing insecurity, and you were right there to meet them.
So let me give you three very simple but different examples. We deal with a number of people who have significant challenges in learning, developmental disabilities, some mental health issues. And for us, we provide residences 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in a safe, secure, and hopefully family-like setting for those. For those people during the pandemic, we couldn't close. Our staff had to come in and day out. They couldn't work remotely. So we supplied PPE, safety. We put safety protocols in. So that was one way we kept going during the pandemic. That was a critical need. Another way was the food insecurity that you mentioned. Now we have 30, 40 community food pantries throughout the New York area, but it wasn't enough. So we set up pop-up pantries where we drive up a truck or two on a particular day of the week, and we would distribute 200, 300, 400 grocery packages to families who were there. So much so that in the 18 months, beginning of this pandemic, we provided over 10 million meals to hungry New Yorkers. The third area I'm going to give you is the area of mental, emotional health. During this pandemic, a lot of people were stressed. And so some of our agencies pivoted. And even though people were in their apartments, they couldn't come in person, they did thousands upon thousands of telehealth sessions for people's well-being, emotional support. So those are three examples: on site, in residences, pop-up pantries for people who are hungry, those dealing with emotional issues, telehealth, so that they could still be served even though they couldn't physically come into our offices.
So for people who want to get in touch with you and get a way to get in contact with you about the book or the work of Catholic Charities, how do they go about doing that?
Go to our website, Catholic Charities New York, and you can find out all the information you need. I don't give people the URL anymore. I just say, go to Google. My good friend Google will get you to the Catholic Charities New York website.
All right. Monsignor, you got to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us, and glad to be able to meet you. And then at the same time, thank you for the work that you've been doing, both on the faith side and then also on the public service side. Much thanks indeed.
Thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure to be with you. Thanks so much.
All righty. Want to let you know, Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, our guest here on Open. Now, he already told you to go to Google. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you, see him on Instagram, Facebook. All you got to do is go to Catholic Charities NY, and there you can connect with them as well on social media. All right, we got more Open. Don't go anywhere. We return coming up right after this.